We're going to be spicing up the engine bay a little bit on my 2003 Saab 9-3 today. I haven't made any videos on this car in a while. It's mostly because it's been sitting, but I do have a mod coming for it very soon that I need to install, so you'll see a video on that. Coming under the hood of this thing, and it's really not, this isn't a mod in any way, it's more of just cleaning up my engine bay. You'll notice for one, I don't have my engine cover on. That's just to help the ECU breathe the best that it can. But ever since I bought this car, this radiator support here has just been like super gross and corroded and really nasty, and always, to me at least, kind of the eyesore of the whole engine bay. There's not really much I can do to fix this. And for how much work it would cost to even attempt to refix this, buying new stickers, things like that, to me it just never was worth it. Thankfully, my good buddy Lucas at Saving Saabs picked up a bunch of these at the junkyard relatively recently, and yeah, we got this ready to throw on the car today. I'm super excited because you can tell this one is in just about perfect condition. Now, this process shouldn't be too hard. Really, the only finicky thing we have to deal with is the hood cable right here, so I'll show that process briefly. But first thing we need to do here is pull off the bumper so we can get access to all the hood support bolts, and that's why I've got the car up here on the wood planks, just so I can get a little bit of access underneath. Bumper removal on these cars is pretty easy. Usually there should be 6 of these little push plastic screws here that you kind of just have to push the center in, and as you pull up the bumper it'll just pop out. Mine doesn't have most of those. I need to order some new ones. It just has a couple of mounting points right here that are broken off, and then a big one sitting right here. If you come to each fender liner here, there are 3 8mm. There's one at the bottom here that connects to the lower lip. There's one in the middle. I actually jacked up the car temporarily about 6 inches or so, just so that way there'd be more wheel gap here and more clearance to reach in. And then the last one is up top here, connecting to the fender. So I'm gonna lower the car back down and pop it off. Because it's sitting so high in the air from being on some 2x10s, I went ahead and slid a furniture dolly I have under there just to support the weight of the bumper, but it's still low enough to where we can access all the bolts we need. So we have 2 10mm right here. We have the horn that we're gonna have to disconnect and put on the new one. And then we have a wide variety of 10mm all up along here. So let's pop our battery cover off just for better access. Pull this out. We're also gonna have to disconnect our air duct for the battery. I also just realized we do have to take out the headlights for this, so there's 2 bolts right here which you should have just undone, and there's a 3rd one down under here which we need to get to. And it'll be easier if we just disconnect the headlight. There's one little clip back here. Might not absolutely need to do this, but it'll give us more clearance. So with this out, I'm gonna go do the same thing on the other side. Now realizing there's a couple of bolts I forgot to get. I'm going to disconnect the horn down here. The clip is on the back side of it. With that loose, we can start to work at getting this out the rest of the way. So you can see there's 2 little tabs on either end that sit under the fender. It's kind of going to be what we're battling first here, along with the hood cable, obviously. So if we lift this up, you can see we have our hood cable here. So it clips in right under there in one spot. And if we come down here, we have a little Torx tab. Now at this point, we can kind of unhook it right there. And then we need to disconnect it from the other side as well. There's actually one last item here. This the first part of the ducting for the battery. There's a couple of 8 mils that hold that on right here. So I'm gonna get that off real quick, so we can fully remove that. There we go. So there's the two 8 mils, and then there's a little sliding clip right here. Now we just need to finish undoing the hood cable. So if you look right here, there's a little bit of a latch of sorts. So there's that unclipped. If I can unhook this from the fenders like so, gives me a lot more wiggle room here, and you want to be careful not to scratch the paint of your car here with this. Gotta sort of push the cable through. It's a little bit of a pain, but I just got it unhooked there. And now we can feed the cable through. Oh man, that was a struggle. Really the only thing left that we need to swap over to the new one is my horn right here. Everything else got pulled off already, so let's go ahead and do that real quick. It's just with the 110mm right here. Now when we reinstall this into the car, the first thing we want to do is kind of put it in upright, so these little tabs on either side can slide in to this opening in the fender. After I kind of have that set in, I'm going to run the hood cable. It needs to snap into this one, and then sort of run up through here, go onto this little mounting point, that little Torx we removed, run through here, run under, come through this clip, and then hook onto the other side. Here's again a quick comparison showing how bad the current one looked, and our new one right up there. Look at that difference. Slide that in there. Now that that's kind of set in, let's clip this in here. Actually, before I do that, I'm gonna route it through the whole way first. So we're gonna pull it through here. There we go. So that one's in. You have it clipped in right here. Just get that in. First thing I'm going to do now that I have that hood cable sorted, and that's really the only finicky part of this job, is get this clip in for the hood here. I'm actually having a bit of trouble getting the hood cable to line up because I can see the marks in the cable where it used to sit before. So for now, I'm just not going to worry about it, and going to instead reinstall this piece here for the battery cooling. You can also plug the horn in before I forget. And also the little clip on the wiring harness goes right there. If you're struggling with the same thing, I think I just found a method that will work. So I grabbed some pliers here and squeezing the covered part of the cable and just moving it that way. And then with my other hand, I'm gonna screw this on. Next, I'm going to begin assembling all the bolts. I'm going to leave out the ones for the headlights for now, and then we'll do the headlights after this is all reconnected. I just want to get them all started by hand, just to make sure we have no issues, because sometimes if the car's been in any sort of accident, this one hasn't, but it can make these impossible to line up properly. Next, let's pop in this little piece of air ducting right here. And then we can get the battery as well, and our washer for the reservoir nozzle, or head, I guess. With all that connected, I'm gonna go ahead and close the hood and make sure it latches. Well, it latched, but to make sure it pops open. And we're good. That means I did it right. Definitely would recommend checking this because you'll be really sad if you get it all together and you realize you messed something up like that. Next, we can put our headlights in. And lastly here, we can get our bumper lined up. And reinstalled. Okay, that was like first take, absolutely perfect. I've never had this bumper go on that easily. Not like it's difficult to get it set, but you saw how fast that slid on. That was... Bumper is all back together, and as you guys saw in the beginning of the video, I was missing just about all of these clips that go on the top of the bumper here. I went up to AutoZone. They didn't have the exact same thing, but they did have this. There's the part number for it. $3.99 for 6 of them. So I figured I can try this and see if it'll work. These don't need to hold any weight, so I'm not really concerned if they're like super small. I just didn't want them to be too big. It's more so for the tidiness of this whole area up there, and also because I'm tired of not having all those clips. And I could order them new from Saab parts, but I just want to do it now in this video, so there's my logic behind that. So these definitely seem like they're a little bit small. Like some of them, well, some of them, they won't actually come out, but they are a little bit loose. You can see some of them are in there nice and snug. So if you can get something a little bit bigger, if you're doing this job ahead of time and planning, definitely just order brand new OEM ones from Saab parts. I'm sure they're like $1 a piece. But yeah, there you have it, guys. Super excited with how this turned out. My whole engine bay just looks a little bit less like an eyesore now. Let me know what you guys think down below, and see y'all next time. Thanks for watching.